Okay, so this is my presentation proposal for the music video for Taylor Swift's Getaway car. Table of contents. The first part is gonna be the story and the narrative. Um, the second part is gonna be just examples and like kind of some references to what's inspired me and what I'm gonna take for use as inspiration. And the third part is gonna be the key players for production. Not all the players, just the ones that are most important to my ability to do this production. Um, the fourth part is going to be the budget, what we need, and a rough idea of the cost. The fifth part is going to be the timeline, which will be just a general schedule from pre-production all the way through the release of the video. So the story, to understand the story, you have to understand the song and kind of what it's about. It reflects Taylor Swift getting into a new romantic relationship as a means to escape the one that she's currently in. With this new man being her metaphorical getaway car. The music video, therefore, will be a cinematic depiction of Taylor Swift starting a new relationship with a man, but it's gonna actually, instead of being an escape from the current relationship, it's gonna be an escape from the law. Getaway car, sort of Bonnie and Clyde meets Thelma and Louise kind of style narrative. But regardless, she's gonna be escaping a less than ideal situation by using a new relationship with a man. So the story itself is going to start with a botched robbery attempt. Taylor Swift dragging our male lead into this adventure that they're about to go on throughout the country. We follow them as they evade capture, like through the desert roads and like small towns of the southwestern United States. Again, very much Thelma and Louise kind of style. And it ends with Taylor Swift leaving our male lead in a motel while he sleeps, resulting his capture the next day. That's the general overall story. Don't want to get into too specific details, but it's a narrative like that. Some examples and inspiration. I take a lot of inspiration from Joseph Kahn, especially because he did a lot of the music videos from the time that Bad Blood came out for Taylor Swift, or not Bad Blood, excuse me. Getaway Car came out for Taylor Swift. He did a lot of those music videos, and I think his style would work very, very well with what I have in mind. But essentially, what I'm envisioning is it's gonna be this narrative, this couple on the run from the law before being betrayed, Southwestern United States narrative. But it's gonna have that cinematic feel, that the same cinematic feel that Bad Blood does. Kind of mixed with the narrative aspect of "You Belong with Me." But again, combine those, put Getaway Car into the equation, and you have you essentially have what I envision. So essential team members for the project. These aren't all the team members. These are just the ones that are the most important to assist me as a director. And this is just kind of based off, like, I'm an ENFP personality type, which means I'm a campaigner. And some of my strengths, I am very driven, and I'm very passionate about I'm very driven by my emotions, and I'm very passionate about being able to express my happy and positive emotions and get others to feel that through my work. But I'm also, with that being said, I tend to get myself very excited and distract myself with like the various details of these projects. And it's just kind of a mess. It ends up being a mess. It can get done, but it's not going to be pretty. So what I would need most is a producer, followed by director of photography, project manager, and a sound director. The producer is going to manage all the different moving parts, but like the creative side of that, that's going to be hiring our cast and crew, acquiring our props, set location, like getting our locations and everything. They're going to be the ones that are in charge of overseeing that all that is dealt with and in play and running smoothly. Director of photography, they're going to be, they don't have to be, like, the producer's going to have to be pretty creatively inclined, like, and think in a similar manner that I do, so that they understand exactly what I need and they kind of understand the vision that I have in mind, right? Director of photography, not so much in the same sense as like creatively as the producer does, but the main thing for them is that they need to be able to they need to be excited about and passionate about, like, you know, the digital theory the same way that I'm passionate about, like, the narratives in this story. um they also have to have a really deep understanding. This is very important, that they have a deep understanding of the way that cameras work, but also the way that, like, light travels. I am pretty confident that if I have a director of photography and someone that I can say, hey, this is what I want, this is the shot that I want, can you get that for me? Together we can create exactly what I have in mind. They'll know how to do it, and it'll just be a crucial tool, like something beyond my wildest dreams. um the next one I would need is a project manager. They're very much like a producer, but they deal a lot with, like, the more business kind of, like, like the more business side, like logistical stuff that have to do with the music video, the stuff that isn't necessarily, like, doesn't really involve, like, a whole lot of, like, the creative aspect side of it. They're going to be like the producer, the project manager, like, they both have to be very, very organized, and very, very, like, very organized. Although the project manager has to be more so, like, more organized, more able to stay focused. They need to be someone that isn't going to be easily convinced to, like, deviate from the schedule a little bit. Like, they have to be on top of that and not let it, like, almost like army drill sergeant, can't be pushed around. We have to stick to schedule. That's what our project manager needs to be. But they're also gonna because they're gonna be the ones that are in charge of keeping us on time, sticking to the budget and everything. They're gonna be the ones that oversee all of that and make sure that we don't get too caught up in our creative aspects and our creative ideas to lose track of, like, reality. Finally, I would need a sound director. We would use the music that's already been produced, whatever that may be, even if it's not been mastered or anything. We would need, like, the music itself that's already been produced, so that we can incorporate. But we would also need to incorporate things like sound effects. I'm gonna need, like, police sirens, right? Tires screeching, like, among a bunch of other things. But some dialogue. We're gonna need a little bit more sound than just the music in order to really drive home this narrative and this cinematic feel that I'm going for with Getaway Car. This person's gonna be in charge of ensuring that we have all that, and that we get it in a way that it's able to be mixed in, like, in a way that it meshes well with the music while the music's being played. They're gonna be in charge of setting up the mics and everything on the set, making sure that everything's running the way it needs to, that we're getting the sounds that we need, that it sounds the way we want it to, again, so that we can mix it and mesh it well with the music. But also, like, whatever sound effects, whether they want to get that on location, whether they want to get some stuff, like, they want to utilize Foley to get stuff, offset, whatever. They just need to be able to ensure that when it comes time to put everything together, we have the sounds that we need. The needs and the budget. So the estimated cost, I put it around $253,000. There's a lot of things that go into it. But the main things that, like, what this budget is going to kind of cover, this is, like, the main kind of breakdown of it. So it's going to cover, for one, your crew. That's going to be your camera people, your lighting technicians, production assistants, prop master, set builders, wardrobe, whatever. I don't imagine this being more than 40 people total. Probably no more, not very much less. Like, that being everyone from, like, editors to, just set design, light, even just, like, the person holding the boom mic. It shouldn't be more than 40 total. Next is the cast. Obviously, we need Taylor Swift. We're going to need our male lead, and then we're going to need about 30 extras. Absolutely shouldn't need no more than 30, like, at all. But probably around 25 to 30, I would say, for the various different parts to kind of get this story going. You're going to need your police people, like, background, whatever. We're going to need to be about 30 people total. Then we have our props. This is going to be, like, you got your general props and everything. We need, like, the key thing we need is a 1960s style convertible. That's going to be, like, the most important prop that we can get. That's what we need more than anything for this story to come together. We're gonna need some prop weapons for like the police and everything. And we're gonna need this is gonna include your wardrobe, whatever else it is, whatever else we need for this scene to go on. Without me getting into too much detail of the story itself, because I'll get sidetracked. After that, you have your permits. That's gonna be like your locations. We have because we're gonna be filming. This is gonna be hard, not hard, but this is important because we're gonna be filming in 2 different states. We're gonna be filming in Los Angeles and we're gonna be filming in Nevada. And we're gonna be filming like 2, like various different, like all over the place in Nevada and all over the place in Los Angeles. It's gonna be like a relatively confined space that we can get and portray the image that they've traveled a really, really long distance and over a decently like a somewhat extended period of time, even though it's really, in reality, it's only like 2-3 days in like within like a couple blocks of each other, for a couple blocks in Los Angeles and a couple blocks of each other in Nevada or whatever. But for that, we're gonna need location permits, we're gonna need insurance, we're gonna need police detail. There's gonna need all sorts of like legal things so that we don't run into any trouble when we do get out there and go and set up and start trying to film, so that we make sure that we're not being interrupted by anything that we can control. Other than that, we have some other costs. That's gonna be like the cost of travel, bringing all the equipment everywhere, catering. That's gonna be your equipment as well, actually. Catering, pre-production, editing, post-production, just all the other things that are kind of on the side. Equipment is a little bit, equipment that's a little more of its own thing, but I just included it here because I include it with the travel, because you gotta consider how you're gonna get your equipment wherever it's gonna get, because we're gonna be filming in the rural Nevada, that like theoretically basically in the middle of nowhere, somewhere that's not very busy with traffic, make it easier to get permits and not have to worry about interruptions. There's not going to be like equipment rental places like across the street. Well, overall, yeah, it's going to cost about $253,000. It's just a rough estimate based on kind of that's just a rough estimate based on all these costs kind of put together in their averages. General timeline, I would start pre-production absolutely no later, and really not much earlier than July 10th. And it would last throughout August 31st. It's going to be everything from your writing, your planning, your casting, location permits, like getting all the permits for location, getting all the equipment, getting everything lined up so that when it comes time to film, we can film. The reason I would start there is because it lines up with Taylor Swift's tour schedule. Because Taylor Swift she's in the European leg of her tour, and the last show of that part of the tour is August 20th. So that leaves us time to finalize things, but also for her to kind of have like a time to kind of chill out before we start working again. I'm sure that she would appreciate that. But after production, we're gonna start production. These 2 dates are this is all actually set in stone, really, but September 1st, it's go time. Essentially it's go time. We're really gonna start rehearsals on September 3rd and 4th. I just kind of said September 30th, so we have the whole month for this production. It's like I said earlier, it's going to be about 4 days, but having that extended period of a month leaves us time to adjust for things like, adjust for things and line up with like the locations. If we have a location that we can use it, but it has to be like within a certain, like within these days or whatever that lines up with us, for able to use it then. Along with things like people's schedules, it's just leaves us a lot of flexibility for like the different things that come into play when scheduling a large production like this. But yeah, I would leave Well, the more specific schedule, I probably should get into that with the production because it is the most important part, and it is most important that we stick to it. I have it so that the third and the fourth is rehearsals. One day's in Los Angeles, one day's in Nevada, and then we have the 6th and 7th is going to be both Los Angeles. So day 1, day 2, Los Angeles. That's the 6th and 7th. And then the 10th and the 11th is going to be day 2 and day 3. That is ideal. That is the ideal schedule. Leave some time for everybody to have breaks in between because it's to be long days we're working. Leave breaks and also kind of get things together, make adjustments for the next section of filming. But again, that being said, we can move stuff around if need be. That is just the most ideal situation. So we could be ideally, before we get down to the actual specifics of the scheduling, we would be done by no later than, or excuse me, we could be done as early as September 12th, by September 12th. But even with all these adjustments and everything, we absolutely cannot go past September 30th. We'll lose focus. That's just going to be way too much of an extended period of time to maintain focus and make sure that this is running smoothly and keep our train of thought. So that's September 30th is the absolute last day that we can be filming, and that last day needs to be the things we need to be filming is the last few shots, reshoots, B-roll. That's what that's going to be. Post-production, that's going to start anywhere because production could end because production could end anywhere from the 12th through the 30th. Production itself could start anywhere between the 12th and October 1st. And as soon as we are done filming, the second we are done, we need to be moving in towards post-production. So I don't have any breaks in between if we don't need it. I want to get this done as soon as possible, again, to keep everybody's trains of thoughts in the same way, to keep things fresh in our minds. But regardless of when it starts, I estimate it's going to last about probably 2 weeks, maximum 3. This is going to include everything that is, it's going to include, this will be everything that's going to, excuse me, post-production, this period of time is going to be when everything that we've done is being put together. Every single thing. It's going to be your color, this is going to be your sound effects, this is going to be your, doing the edit. It's going to be everything, putting it together from start to finish. Outside of any adjustments or anything that we might have been referencing, on set. But regardless, the absolute final cut, final version of this, we should have no later than early 20s, we should have no later than October, about 21st, around there, give or take a couple of days. That is when this needs to be done, no later than that. Now, as to when it is going to be released, that is completely up to Taylor Swift. That really doesn't have anything to do with, I don't really have any influence on that. That I believe it should be the artist's decision, and so leave that up to her. But even if this music video isn't released for the next 10 years, the video itself will be done by the 3rd, 4th week of October. Yeah, that's Getaway Car.